Let me ask you something. How many times have you told yourself, tomorrow? I'll start tomorrow. I'll wake up earlier tomorrow. I'll start working out tomorrow. I'll stop scrolling tomorrow. I'll work on my business tomorrow. I'll study tomorrow. I'll finally become the person I keep saying I want to become tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes, and somehow you do the exact same thing. You wake up, you grab your phone, you check TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, you answer messages, you watch somebody else's life, you watch somebody become successful, you watch somebody travel, you watch somebody build their dream life. And before you know it, hours have passed. And then you look at the clock and think, where did the day go? And then you promise yourself again, okay, tomorrow I'll actually do it. And that's when I think we need to stop calling ourselves lazy. Because maybe you're not lazy. Maybe you've just stopped taking yourself seriously. I know that sounds harsh, but hear me out. Because there's a difference between being lazy and constantly breaking promises to yourself. There's a difference between being tired and constantly choosing the easiest option. Also, there's a difference between genuinely needing rest and using the I don't feel like it as a reason to avoid everything that matters to you. And I think a lot of us have gotten so comfortable disappointing ourselves that we don't even realize we're doing it anymore. Let's start with the tomorrow cycle. Think about how powerful the word tomorrow is. Because tomorrow doesn't require anything from you. Tomorrow is always going to be better. Tomorrow you'll have more energy. Tomorrow you'll be more motivated. Tomorrow you'll finally have your life together. But tomorrow isn't a plan. It's just a place where you're putting your responsibilities you don't want to deal with today. And eventually, tomorrow becomes next week. Next week becomes next month. And the next month becomes next year. And suddenly you're looking at your life wondering, how am I still here? And the scary part isn't that you didn't achieve everything you wanted. The scary part is that you know you could have started. You knew what you needed to do. You just kept postponing it. And every time you said tomorrow and didn't follow through, you taught yourself something. You taught yourself, my own word doesn't really mean anything. Because think about it, if someone constantly made promises to you and never kept them, eventually you'd stop trusting them. So why do we expect ourselves to trust ourselves when we constantly say we're going to do something and then don't? You say, I'm going to work out. You don't. I'm going to study. You don't. I'm going to stop wasting my time. You don't. I'm going to start that project. You don't. And after doing that enough times, you stop believing yourself. That's where I think the real problem begins. It's not laziness, it's self-trust. Something else very important. You don't need more motivation. And this brings me to something I think we blame way too much, motivation. I'll do it when I'm motivated. No, you probably won't. Because motivation is unreliable. Some mornings you wake up feeling unstoppable. You have a vision, you're inspired, you make a whole plan, you clean your room, you make a schedule, you decide you're changing your entire life. And then 3 days later, you're back in bed, scrolling on your phone. Because motivation was never supposed to carry your entire life. You cannot build your future based on whether or not you feel like doing something. There are going to be days when you don't feel like working, days when you don't feel like studying, days when you're bored, days when you're insecure, days when you doubt yourself, days when you want to quit. And those days don't mean you should stop. They mean you're human. The question isn't, do I feel motivated? The better question is, what did I say I was going to do? That's it. You don't need to feel inspired. You need to keep your word, even if it's small. Number 3, your phone is not the problem. Now let's talk about the phone, because I think a lot of us know exactly what we're doing. You open your phone just to check one thing. 5 minutes, that's all. And suddenly you're watching a random video, and then another, and then another. Then you're looking at someone's profile. Then you're comparing yourself to someone you've never met. Then you're watching a productivity video. Then you're watching someone talk about how to become successful. Then another video about discipline. then another video about how to change your life. And somehow, you spend 2 hours consuming content about changing your life instead of actually doing it. That's the trap. You can spend your entire life watching people talk about the life you want, but watching someone else's discipline doesn't make you disciplined. Watching someone else's success doesn't make you successful. Watching motivational video doesn't mean you're taking action. At some point, you have to put the phone down. Not forever, just long enough to ask, what am I actually doing with my own life? Because your life is happening while you're watching somebody else's. That's the part that scares me. You're sitting there watching someone travel while your dreams are waiting. You're watching someone build a business while your idea is still in your notes app. You're watching someone become confident while you're waiting to magically feel confident enough to start. You're watching somebody transform their life while telling yourself you'll start tomorrow. And I'm not saying this to make you feel guilty. I'm saying it because I want you to realize something. You are the person who has to press pause. Nobody is going to magically come take your phone away. Nobody is going to appear at your door and say, come on, it's time, let's build your life. Nobody is going to force you to become the person you keep imagining. At some point, you have to decide. Number 4, no one is coming to save you. And this is probably the hardest thing to accept. No one is coming. Not in the way you're hoping. Nobody is coming to give you the perfect motivation. Nobody is coming to create your schedule. Nobody is coming to make you disciplined. No one is coming to make your dreams happen. And honestly, that's not depressing. That's actually empowering. Because if nobody is coming, then you don't have to wait. You don't need permission. You don't need someone to believe in you first. You don't need everyone around you to understand what you're trying to do. You can start right where you are with what you have, even if it's messy, even if you're scared, even if you're not ready, because ready is something we use to delay things. We say, I'll start when I have more money. I'll start when I have more confidence. I'll start when I have more time. I'll start when I know exactly what I'm doing. But sometimes you don't get clarity before you start. You get clarity because you start. You don't become confident and then take action. Sometimes you take action and confidence comes afterward. Number 5, you keep waiting for a different version of yourself. There's another thing we do. We imagine a future version of ourselves. She's disciplined, she's organized, she wakes up early, she works out, she reads, she has goals, she's confident, she doesn't waste hours scrolling, she takes care of herself, she gets things done. And we look at that version of ourselves and think, one day I'll become her. But here's the truth. That version of you isn't going to magically appear. She's built through your daily choices. Every time you get up when you decide you would, you're building her. Every time you put your phone down, you're building her. Every time you finish something instead of abandoning it, you're building her. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you're building her. It's not one giant transformation. It's hundreds of tiny decisions. And that's why you shouldn't underestimate small actions. You don't need to completely reinvent your life tomorrow. You need to start proving to yourself that you can trust yourself again. Number 6, take yourself seriously. I think this is the part I really want you to hear. Take yourself seriously. Take your dreams seriously. Take your goals seriously. Take your time seriously. Take your future seriously. Because if you don't, why would anybody else? And I'm not talking about becoming this incredibly serious, boring person who never has fun. I'm talking about respecting yourself enough to do what you said you were going to do. If you said you're going to study for an hour, study for an hour. If you said you're going to work on your project, work on it. If you said you're going to apply for that opportunity, apply. If you said you're going to stop wasting your evenings, put the phone down. Start small, but start. Because every time you follow through, you're sending yourself a message. I can trust myself. And that is powerful. Number 7, stop negotiating with yourself. One of the biggest things I've realized is that we negotiate with ourselves way too much. You wake up. Should I get up? Maybe 5 more minutes. Maybe I'll do it later. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe I deserve a break. And sometimes you do deserve a break. But there's a difference between rest and avoidance. And you know the difference. You know when you're genuinely exhausted, and you know when you're just avoiding something uncomfortable. You know when you need to rest, and you know when you're procrastinating. You know when you need a break, and you know when you've spent 3 hours scrolling. Be honest with yourself, because you cannot build a different life while constantly lying to yourself about what you're doing. So sometimes the answer needs to be no. No, I'm getting up. No, I'm not scrolling right now. No, I'm not doing this tomorrow. I'm doing this today. Not perfectly, just today. Number 8, your life doesn't need a perfect plan. And please don't turn this into another thing you'll procrastinate on. Don't spend the next 3 weeks creating the perfect routine, the perfect Notion page, the perfect planner, the perfect morning routine, the perfect playlist, the perfect gym outfit, the perfect schedule, and then never actually start. You don't need a perfect system. You need action. Start embarrassingly small if you have to. 10 minutes, 1 page, 1 application, 1 workout, 1 video, 1 paragraph, 1 task, because action creates momentum, and momentum makes the next step easier. You don't need to change your entire life today. You just need to stop abandoning yourself. Number 9, ask yourself this question. So tonight, or whenever you're listening to this, I want you to ask yourself one question, and don't answer it quickly. Actually think about it. If I took myself seriously, what would I do differently? What could change? Would you spend less time on your phone? Would you stop waiting for motivation? Would you finally start the thing you've been talking about? Would you stop telling yourself tomorrow? Would you get serious about your goals? Would you stop comparing your life to people online? Would you stop waiting for someone else to save you? Would you start keep promises to yourself? Because maybe you already know exactly what you need to do. Maybe you've known for months. Maybe you've known for years. You don't need another motivational video. You don't need another podcast. You don't need another sign. Maybe you just need to do the thing. Number 10, the reality check. And listen, your life isn't going to change because you watched this video. It changes when you close this video. That's when it matters. Because it's very easy to listen to something like this and feel inspired. You think, yes, that's exactly what I needed. And then you scroll to the next video. Don't do that. Take one thing from this, and actually do it. Because I don't want this to be another piece of content you consume. I want it to be something that makes you move. Maybe after this video, you clean your room. Maybe you study. Maybe you work on your business. Maybe you go for a walk. Maybe you go for a run. Maybe you finally send the email. Maybe you put your phone away for an hour. Maybe you sit down and figure out what you actually want. Whatever it is, do something. Last thing I want to say, take yourself seriously. So if you've been calling yourself lazy, maybe stop. You're not lazy. You've just gotten used to breaking promises to yourself. And the good news, you can change that. You don't have to become completely a different person overnight. You don't need to wake up tomorrow and suddenly have your entire life figured out. You just need to start keeping small promises. Start today, not tomorrow, today. Because every time you say tomorrow, you're making a decision. And every time you say I'll do it later, you're making a decision. And every time you choose another hour of scrolling instead of doing something that matters to you, you're making a decision. Your life is being built through those decisions. So choose differently. Put the phone down, get up, do the thing. Even if you don't feel like it, especially if you don't feel like it. And stop waiting for someone to come to save you. Stop waiting for motivation. Stop waiting until you're ready. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Because your life is already happening. And while you're watching everyone else's, you're missing yours. So take yourself seriously. Your goals deserve your effort. Your dreams deserve your attention. Your future deserves your time. And most importantly, you deserve to become the person you kept saying you want to be. Not tomorrow, today.